It's the average hockey fan here, and I got some good news and some bad news for you. The Montreal Canadiens have a very big winnable game tonight against the LA Kings. It's at a weird time. It's at 12 o'clock midnight tonight, and Carey Price could tie Jack Plant tonight for the all-time franchise leading wins. But the bad news is, for some weird reason, the excuse is that the kid looks tired. Jesperi Kotkaniemi is a healthy scratch tonight, and Jordan Weal is going to be in. I don't know how they're going to switch the lineups. I haven't seen the lines for the night so far. I would assuming Jordan Weal will be playing on the fourth line, but maybe they're going to test him on the third line. Clearly, he's not taking Kotkaniemi's spot. They're calling it load management. At least that's what they said on Tim and Sid and the other hockey shows I watched. Never really heard any big details other than Kotkaniemi's being rested because he's tired. I don't agree with it in such a big game to take one of the most important players off the ice like that. Really good center. He hasn't looked overly tired to me. Maybe they're seeing something behind the scenes that we're all not seeing. He is maybe fatigued. He is a very young guy. Has took some pretty physical play, so they could be bang on with that. Maybe it will. Maybe the rest will help him. We'll come out and have a fiery game and look really good. Let's hope so. But anyways, guys, the team Montreal is facing is not having the year they want. All their stars, including Doughty and Kopitar, have been having terrible years. Doughty, after signing that giant contract at the beginning of the year, he's been downhill. His numbers are nowhere near up to his standards. Absolutely brutal by Doughty standards. Kopitar, who was nominated for the Hart last year, is only on pace for like 60 points. So that says it all for LA right there. They're a team of aging players. That's a slow team. But they do have a hot young goalie in Jack Campbell. He doesn't have the best record. But from what we've seen from Montreal, he is a goalie that can stand on his head. He shut Montreal out earlier this year. 48 save shutout. I believe Montreal played LA twice this year. They beat them once and lost to them once. I could be mistaken on that. I couldn't find how many times they played, but I do remember 100% off memory. Early in the season, I believe it was the second game of the season, maybe third game of the season, Montreal lost to LA in a shutout where the Habs dominated. They had 48 shots on net. They absolutely controlled position, but Jack Campbell stood on his head. So let's hope we don't see that from Campbell tonight. Anyways, guys, the numbers for LA, they're brutal. 24, 33, and 8. They're 8th in the Pacific, which isn't a very strong division by no means. The top 3 are strong teams. The top 4 are strong teams. But you look at how they drop off after those top 4, top 5. It's not a very strong division by the West standards. The West and the East have kind of swapped. The West used to always be the powerful, used to have LA, Chicago, Anaheim, so many powerful teams, and the East had a couple of good teams like Boston and Pittsburgh, but as far as the power shift, it was to the West. But now it's to the East for sure now. As for Columbus, they're 8th in the Pacific. Their goals for is 158 at 30th. Their goals against is 207 at 20th. Their power play is better than the Habs, of course, because the Habs are dead last. 15.7%, 26th in the league. Their penalty kill is 75%. 30th in the league. The only thing I see better for LA than Montreal, like all around, from top to bottom, is they have experience and they have a better penalty kill. That's the only thing I see going better for LA. The Habs could really jump all over this team tonight. They're probably pissed about their last win, how Pittsburgh jumped all over them. I'm hoping Montreal returns the favor to LA tonight. And LA won their last game, so they could be coming out overconfident, but I doubt it because they only got one regulation win in their last 5, excuse me. Their power play is 75%, dead even. Their last 5 games, they're 1-2-2, like I just said. They won their last game, 6-3 over Chicago. Jack Campbell this year, 23 games played. He has 7 wins, 11 losses, 1 overtime loss, 1 shutout. He has a .927 save percentage and a 2.24 goals against. Jonathan Quick this year, numbers ain't good by Quick standards. We all know how great Quick is, Stanley Cup winner. Jonathan Quick, 35 games played. 12 wins, 17 losses, 6 overtime losses, 2 shutouts, 3.30 goals against, .892 save percentage. So that's LA's numbers right there as far as their team and their goalie. But their leaders, this is nowhere up to LA standards. You look at their leader numbers last year. If you took a stat sheet for LA's leaders last year and put it side by side to this year's leaders, like what Doughty's numbers look like, what Kopitar's numbers look like, it is shocking, the drop-off. It's the biggest drop-off it has to be the biggest drop-off in the NHL. It's insane for how bad their stars look like. At least numbers-wise, looks like they're falling apart. I'm not a guy who follows the LA Kings regularly. I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan. I'm more of a guy who follows the Eastern Conference. I do watch the LA Kings highlights, and if they're having like a big game where they're honoring a player or it's a close game where they're playing to get to the playoffs, I'll watch them. But if LA is playing, they're not a team I'm going to turn on the TV to watch. But Kopitar, 64 games played, 19 goals, 29 assists, 48 points. This guy was nominated for the Hart last year, and he's only on pace for like 60 points, maybe 65 points if you did the math. -6, all these guys are minuses. 14.7 shooting percentage. He plays 22.27 minutes per game, so he clearly does play a big role for LA, but judging by the numbers, he's not doing a very good job at it. Dustin Brown is their next leading scorer. 55 games played, 16 goals, 21 assists, 37 points, -6, 12% dead even shooting percentage, and I can't find how many minutes he plays per game. I didn't write down the minutes he plays per game, excuse me on that one, folks. And Drew Doughty. This is the guy who blows my mind because he signed a huge contract, and I haven't been keeping tabs on Doughty. I have been watching the defensive stats, who the top 10 in stats are. I knew he wasn't in the top 10. I knew he wasn't having the greatest year, but I didn't realize he was having this bad of a year. His shooting percentage is what shocks me. Doughty's not a sniper. He's not the best shooter in the league, but he still should be a lot better than this. And his plus-minus for a defender to have this kind of plus-minus, 65 games played. He has 5 goals. He's not even going to hit double-digit goals. Doesn't look like 30 assists, 35 points for a guy that what does Doughty make? He makes 9, 10, 11 million. I don't know the Doughty contract off the top of my head. If somebody wants to comment and say what the Doughty contract is, that'd be nice to know. But he makes a ridiculous chunk of money. He's definitely in the top 5 in the league, and he's definitely one of, if not the highest paid defender in the NHL. And he only has 35 points. He's a -25, and his shooting percentage is 4%. Doughty eats up a lot of chunks of minutes, too. He plays about 21 minutes a game. He eats up a lot of minutes for sure for the LA Kings. But that 4% shooting percentage, 35 points, -25, and that's your number one D-man who's supposed to be like top dollar, elite D-man. For like they got him signed for years, and that's the numbers he's putting up, even with the regressing team he's on. That's brutal, and people rag on Weber for his contract. I haven't heard anything about Doughty. It's probably because he plays for LA. He's not on Montreal, Toronto, or a Canadian team, but still, that is a huge drop-off, especially after signing that contract. Crazy. As for Montreal, the record this year, 35, 24, and 7. They lost their last game. We all know that. I'll get into that in a minute. 77 points. They're 4th in the Atlantic. They're still in a wild card spot, thankfully. They're hanging on by the skin of their teeth. Their goals for is 201. 13th in the league. Their goals against 193, 13th in the league. So better numbers there all around in LA. The only thing worse that they have is the power play. Power play, 12.3% is officially 31% in the league. I said Wayne Simmons would help Nashville's power play, and it did. And it doesn't help that Montreal hasn't had a power play goal since I said that either. Penalty kill, 80.9%, 18th in the league. So it's getting a little bit better on the penalty kill. Last game wasn't the best, though. They were 1 for 3, if I do believe. Last 5 games, they're 2-3-0. They lost the last game 4-1 in a gross loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. We all seen it. It was a terrible loss. 52 games played for Price. He's going to be the starter tonight. He's confirmed as the starter. First time in his career he's playing 15 games in a row. If I forgot to mention that earlier, this is the first time in Carey Price's career he's playing 15 games in a row. I don't believe he's starting 15 in a row because one of them he had to come in for Niemi, but that was like 7-8 minutes into the game. Carey Price, 52 games played, 27, 19, and 5. He's 3rd in the league in stats for all goalies. 2.54 goals against, .916 save percentage, and 3 shutouts for Carey Price. So solid numbers all around for Price. Montreal's leaders, they're the same as what they have been for weeks. Max Domi, 66 games played. Well, in Domi's case, for the whole year, 66 games played, 22 goals, 37 assists, 59 points, plus 13, 13.9 shooting percentage, 17.27 minutes per game, and yeah, that's Domi. Drouin, who actually didn't have a bad game last game, I don't know, as bad as the team was, one of the guys who looked like he did actually play pretty decent to me was Jonathan Drouin. 65 games played, 17 goals, 33 assists, 50 points. He's a +1, 10.2 shooting percentage, and he plays 17.3 minutes a game. All these guys pretty much average around the same amount of time, not a ridiculous amount of time. Shea Weber is the one guy on the team who does eat up a ridiculous amount of minutes. Jeff Petrie ate up a lot of minutes this year too. Jonathan Drouin, Thomas Tatar is the 3rd leading scorer. 65 games played, 22 goals for Tatar, 26 assists, 48 points, +14, 13% shooting percentage, and a 16.22 minutes per game. And as for Tatar, if you watched my Suzuki video earlier, my Suzuki update, not only is Tatar having one hell of a season, Suzuki's looking like one hell of a throw-in. And let's hope the third thing is the charm, and that pick ends up being a great pick too. Imagine getting 3 wonderful pieces out of that deal for Pacioretty. And Patches hasn't been looking that great. He's not regressed a whole lot, but he just hasn't looked great. He doesn't seem to have the passion he did in Montreal. As for the game tonight, I'm hoping the Habs come out jump all over them. I'm predicting a big win for Montreal. 6-1 for the Habs. I'm predicting that they're just too fast of a team. They'll have LA pinned to their zone most of the nights. Judging by the stats, their defense just won't be able to stand up to Montreal. I wish I did watch more of LA so I'd be able to give you more of an idea of how I think they could beat the LA Kings. But if Jack Campbell plays like he did against Montreal in the first game of the year, I don't know if it's going to be quick or Campbell night. I'm assuming it's going to be quick. But if Jack Campbell's playing tonight and he played like he did in the first game of the year against Montreal, it's not going to be pretty. So hopefully the Habs get out to an early start, get an early lead, get their confidence going, get a power play goal. Let's have some good positives to take away from this very winnable game tonight over a weak team. And let's hope it's not a brutal loss. I do not want to make a negative, sad recap tomorrow, guys. Anyways, guys, this is Mr. Average Hockey Fan. Hope you like my videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy the game. It's at 12 p.m. midnight. If you're up for the game, I'll have my review by the morning. I probably won't be up to make it, or my recap, excuse me. I probably won't be up to make it immediately after the game, because if I even make it to the end of this game, I'd be surprised. It ends at 3 o'clock in the morning in Newfoundland. Worth staying up for to me, though. It's a Habs game. Anyways, guys, please subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you think about my new editing and my new emojis and my new titles that are up on the screen. Have a great day. Mr. Average Hockey Fan, over and out.